Next up, we've got Eugene Büchner. So Eugene approached us to do an Ignite presentation because he's getting involved in Breathe Freely. So again, another example how people are getting involved in the occupational hygiene profession and wanting to help provide guidance and steer with some of the campaigns. So appreciate Eugene coming along to give us a presentation on MClass vacuum cleaners. So take it away, Eugene. Thank you.
Good. Yes, my name is Eugene, company director of Fenco Group, and our cleaning equipment brand is VTUF. I'm here today to talk about what MClass is and why it's important. So basically, MClass extractors are, they need to perform two basic functions. One is to sufficiently extract the substance, and the next is to contain what's collected rather than blast it out into the air. To combat the cause of lung disease, the HSE have introduced MClass as a minimum legal requirement for extractors. This points out what is respirable dust. I'm sure many of you know that respirable dust is anything that can be breathed into your lungs less than 10 microns. It doesn't get stuck in your nose or your throat. So what is MClass? Number one, they have to have sufficient air velocity to remove the dust created at the point of creation, which is 20 meters a second. So if it falls below 20 meters a second at the point of extraction, it needs to tell the user that it needs to clean the filter, change the bags, whatever. Number two is to have sufficient filtration. So it has MClass filtration, which is H12 HEPA. That means that anything that goes into the extractor, it filters out 99.9% of that. So only 0.1% is getting exhausted out. A lot of unrated vacuum cleaners exhaust a lot of respirable dust back into the air, up to 85%. So it's making the problem worse. Another one is to have a safe waste disposal method. So when you've collected the dust, how can the operator dispose of the dust without becoming exposed himself to the dust? Some myths about MClass. Can I fit a HEPA filter to my vac? The answer is no, because there's 5 grades of HEPA, and the minimum is H12. And then can I fit a HEPA flow bag? And no, because there's a poor seal, there's no airflow monitoring, and the filtration is not correct. Can I stick a MClass sticker on my vacuum cleaner? I've seen photographs of that done. Definitely no. My advice would be to simply buy an MClass vacuum cleaner extractor, and they are becoming more readily available, and the price is coming down. So is MClass really important? Yes, it definitely is. As I mentioned earlier, unrated vacuum cleaners can actually make the problem a lot worse because they pick the dust up off the floor or extract it and they put it into your breathing space. So the person using it is highly exposed to the dust. This just points out what respirable crystalline silica is, and that it's the second biggest killer of construction workers after asbestos. So it's really coming up on the agenda, and it's something we need to do something about. So I appreciate all your input here today. Some statistics here. Since 2013, 42,000 people have reported suffering from work-related construction-related breathing difficulties. Some more statistics. In the UK every year, 110 fresh cases of dust-related skin disease, occupational asthma, deaths of construction workers, etc. And then in the construction industry, the amount of particulate emissions that the construction industry is responsible for, and that it encounters dust right throughout all the trades. That's a high exposure, 40% of the deaths. So what is dust? Dust is particles of a substance which is ranging from 1 to 1,000 microns in size, and it's created by working with materials that involve sanding, drilling, demolition, cutting, sweeping. It has 2 size classifications. You get inhalable dust, which is anything up to 100 microns, which when you breathe it in, it ends up in your nose or your throat. That's not really a problem. The problem is the respirable dust, which is 10 microns or less, and when you breathe it in, it goes straight down into your lung where the oxygen gets processed, and it stays there and causes a problem. There are 3 main types of construction dust. Silica dust, which is respirable crystalline silica, and then wood dust and lower toxicity dust. This is something we've done to try and raise the awareness of tradesmen as to what substances contain the dangerous silica. And as you can see, sandstone is right up at the top, and marble right down at the bottom, which is 2%. Again, this slide also just demonstrates what I said before about the 10 microns being the dangerous dust. And we try and enforce that when we're speaking to tradesmen to get them to understand you might not necessarily be able to see the dust, and it stays airborne for 8 hours. And when you breathe it in, that's what causes your trouble. That's me done. Thank you very much.